This next song is like, you know, it's more serious subject matter. It's called Human Traffic. It's about, a while back, I was at home one day and I was watching something on TV, and it was a British show about these people, and what they do is they take them around the world and they show them where their food comes from. And so they're traveling around the world and they're kind of showing like a lot of the oppressive situations around the world where people that make the food, you know, they grow the food that we end up ultimately consuming, these people and the different states of poverty that they are in some places. And so it's like a kind of reality show. It's like the real world, but they actually have to go do stuff. And so these people are going around and they're meeting these people who work in these food processing facilities and on farms, and they're all in all kinds of poverty and squalor. And as a bonus, when they were in Thailand, after they just had like a thought, they were like, we're going to take you away from the actual people producing the food, and we're going to show you what happens to some families as a result of them not being able to produce enough income to feed everybody. And so they go to the red light district. And you know, there's a bunch of women and, you know, scantily clad. You've seen stuff like that before. And they're all hollering and stuff. And, you know, the guys are laughing and making jokes and hooping and stuff. But then they go and they meet this one woman, and she's a prostitute. And they're explaining, like they're pretty much explaining this situation, like how she ended up there. So one of the girls, she's kind of ditzy and got me real mad. She's like, oh, do you like your job? Hee hee. And the woman who's a prostitute, like unexpectedly, she starts crying, and she like breaks down and gives her story about how, you know, she had to support her child, and there was no way, they're farming and they're not making enough money, and she ended up in that, and she like broke down crying. And then to make it worse, there was an American guy there, and the American guy seen them, and he seen the woman crying, and he started flipping out saying how prostitution was a good thing right in front of this lady, and they got a big argument, and it really touched me. Like what happened there, I just seen it and I was like, it had an effect on me where after I stopped watching the TV, I remembered it. So shortly after, I got an opportunity to travel to Japan with my boy Kenny, because his wife is Japanese. And they were taking my two godsons over there to meet their Japanese family for the first time on their first birthday. And you know, I don't really have money like that, but I used like my tax return, and we like stretched it and made it count. And I went to Japan, and I had a grand old time. It was a good time, but my last day in Japan, I went to Tokyo, and I went to a part of Tokyo where it was like the big club district, and I'm out there walking the streets, looking at the lights and all that, and at a certain point, these women start coming up to me, and they looked all like, you know, they just, the best way to describe it is sad. They look really sad. And I was looking, I was like, what's wrong with these women? And they're coming up to me and they're like, hey, sir, blah, blah, blah. And I realized they were prostitutes, but you know, they weren't like, you know, enthusiastic prostitutes. Like if you try to walk down this street over here, you know, like if you're going to get some chicken, you know, they'll be like, hey, hey, you know, they're like, hey, I'm trying to get paper. But out there, it was just like, it was like they had no choice, those individual people. And so my heart was like wounded for it. I was like, this is horrible that this stuff goes on. I almost got in a fist fight, which is not a Christian thing to do, and I didn't. But I almost got in a fist fight with a pimp because he like tried to make me feel small for not soliciting prostitution. He was like, you don't want a massage? And I was like, I'm supposed to feel guilty now? Like, oh, I'm sorry, you know? I didn't, it was a weird experience, but it made me, it never left me. And so I wrote this song, like shortly after that trip, I wrote this song. It's called Human Traffic. That was a big intro. Hopefully you guys appreciate the song. This is JPoet, that's me. This song is called Human Traffic. I'm trying to draw attention to the slave trade around the world in the modern day. A lot of kids, a lot of women suffering, getting abused, treated like property. It's not right. So I just wrote these lyrics to make you think about it a little bit, alright? Listen. That's Sean Fudge Green from Buffalo singing on the track. He's a good friend of mine. This world is robbing me mind, can't take it no more. So I'm about to lose my mind, keep searching for the things that I can't find. Don't wanna be left behind, can't take it no more. Week after week, she cries all alone. She's used just like property, hourly bought and sold and treated improperly. Though she's worth more than gold, there's nobody stopping, watching. She's trafficked, body and soul is cold, lonely, and hopeless. Every night she hopes this will all just go away. She's got no joy on which to focus. Why do we not notice injustice? This is suppose this was somebody close to you. You probably want to go and throw fists. Everyday girls are broken, crying out, reaching, hoping someone will come and rescue them, give them something to hope in. Little girls and women continuously imprisoned and pimped and prostituted, polluted by people sinning. Life seeming like there's no winning. A setup from the beginning, and to each of them it seems there's no such thing as happy endings. Why do we not see it? We know about it, believe it, and let it keep hurting people in need and pain and weakness. Jean-Claude, you couldn't be here tonight to sing the chorus with me, but this is an issue that's close to his heart as well, because he spent some time in Thailand, and so he was really enthusiastic about helping me out with the song by singing on the track. Check him out on Facebook. From childhood, the little children all had to work, and scarcely could they afford the fabric for shirts. And early they were acquainted well with the hurt and the pain of the everyday, the blood and the dirt. They sleep never peacefully for lives without joy, spent abused sexually for these grown folks' enjoyment. We don't know for better things of these girls and boys, man, but nobody helps because our reason it's poison. They stand on the roadside where they're sold to the tourists, and people know about them still, they ignore this. The fact is that we become complacent. We're all sick, but how would we feel if we were there and we saw this? Human beings bought and sold and mistreated, beaten and told that they're worthless, their world is cold, painted, grabbed on and then it holds. Maybe mommy and daddy left, maybe they were victims of theft, maybe kidnappers have condemned them to living, wishing for death all alone on the crowded streets where they live, beaten in defeat. There's no rest, there's no peaceful sleep, no one cares. They no longer weep, they just pray. Somewhere deep inside they confined, somewhere safe to hide. Though they live deep inside they die, but God sees every tear they cry. Listen. Yeah, so this stuff goes on. There's an organization called Love 146. If you look them up on the internet, you can find like the whole story of what they do. They free children from human trafficking and child prostitution and slavery, basically. This is the last verse. It focuses on people that just listen. Never been molested or had your innocence taken away from you in the fiendish way, prematurely awakened, left you with scars within your soul, body and mind included. Torn away from your childhood, you suffered in pain secluded. If somebody older came to you, someone you probably trusted, that took advantage and hurt you, left your emotions busted, left you feeling so vulnerable, broken without protection. Your heart grew cold and callous. No one ever to be letting, always ready to struggle, to fight, and to show your strength. You protected yourself from everything. Love, give it an arm's length. You survived, holding back the hurt inside, scarred deep beyond repair. Wish you died. Now you wanna run and hide. Fear won't let no one near you. Don't understand relationship, trust, none of the above. In your heart, been decapitated, inoculated to love because someone got to you early, made a mark on your life that hurt you with pain and never leaves. Cut you like with a knife. There is hope that we all can hold on to. Faith that can heal the lashes. Truth that can chase the dark away. Beauty in place of ashes. Hope that we all can hold on to. Faith that can heal the lashes. Truth that can chase the dark away. Beauty in place of ashes. That last verse, I was trying to get it in before the verse started, but I failed. It's about people that have been molested as children, and stuff like that stays with you, and it affects them, as they're older in a lot of ways that get overlooked. And I just want to draw consciousness to that as well. The children are crying, the children they're broken inside, they're dying, they can't find a way out, despite their trying. I didn't memorize this part, obviously. These people forsaken, these people abandoned, these people are cheated, defeated, taken for granted. Their pain no one notices, so this is how they're damaged. Their lives feeling hopeless, we notice, how can we stand it? The children are hurting, the children are crying, the children are broken, they're choking inside, they're dying, they're lost in the nightmares. Despite their trying, they can't find a way out. It feels like there's no surviving. These people forsaken, these people abandoned, these people are cheated, defeated, taken for granted. Their pain no one notices, so this is how they're damaged. Their lives feeling hopeless, we notice, how can we stand it? I forgot about that part because it's not on the song that I normally do. This is the first time I've done this version of the song. I was just talking and that just crept up on me, so don't judge me. But this song is basically like, you fade that out. It's basically like to draw attention to the issue. Like, these things go on, and a lot of the time you see people and they behave a certain way, and it's easy to be like, oh, this person is loose. There's a lot of dirty words you can use to describe people. I'm not going to say any of them, there are children present, but a lot of the time these people have been the victims of this type of thing, and the way that they deal with it, it's like inside them, and everybody wants you to just act normal. but a lot of people can't. So there are plenty of people walking around that you might be like, oh, this person is a weird person. And a lot of the time they deal with issues like this in their lives and they're just hurting. And there's no like way to express that hurt without people openly treating you shamefully. You know, so I just want to draw consciousness to the subject. That's what that song is about. So get it out there if you know anybody that you think that would help. The reason why the album's called Maintenance is because in real life, I'm a maintenance worker. It's my secret identity. And I have to go in people's houses and plunge their toilets and all that good stuff. You know, when there's a leak in the middle of the night and there's water coming in everywhere and I'm sleeping and someone calls me, I have to get up, and it's best in the winter because it's cold and you get to dig up and get soaked by the leaking pipes and try to figure it out, and there's usually hysterical people whose apartment it is. I think that happened in Jesus' house when he lived at the complex, now that I think about it. You know, I didn't think about that till just now. But I'm the guy that does that. You know, I'm the guy that comes in and they're like, the toilet is all clogged up. You have to come and try to fix it. And then I come in when I'm about to go on the door and they're like, there's some stuff in there. I'm just letting you know, there's some stuff in there, so I don't want you to be grossed out. And you're like, no, ma'am, it's no problem. It's no problem. And then you go in there and you're like, that's my job. That's what I do for a living. Hence the maintenance calls and the title of the album, Maintenance. But the double meaning, the metaphor is that we all need maintenance in our lives. You know, the big thing about life is everybody thinks that, I have to get to here and I have to have this. I have to get this much money. I have to have, this wife and this house and this many kids and this job. But in actuality, sorry to ruin the ending for people, but when that happens, there's all kinds of problems when you get there. People like to look at rich, famous people and be like, they're just stupid because they act stupid. But in actuality, that's not really what the problem is. The problem is that they're people. And you would think that having $100 million would just make your life easy street. But in actuality, it just gives you more time to realize all the other things that are issues in your life. And a lot of the time, it eats people alive till they need substance abuse and whatever addictions they have to cover it up. So I'm saying that instead of things in life, we don't need things. We need maintenance. We need to maintain what we have. And, if we get more, we need to maintain that. If you get a fancy car and it costs $2 million and you can't afford to give it regular maintenance, eventually the car is going to be destroyed, like most of my cars, but they don't cost that much money. Because they'd be like, something's wrong. They'd be like, you need regular maintenance. I'll be like, where am I going to get $200 to get some regular maintenance? And then you go down the road and it's like, did you change your oil? You're supposed to do it every, 3 months, or how many miles? 1,000? 3,000, yes. And so, we'll pass that marker a long time ago, and I won't do nothing. The next thing you know, the pistons are trying to shoot out the hood of the car, and it's like, how could this happen? It's just my luck. But really, it's because I can't maintain the car. And that's how we are with our lives. We all go, I want to marry that girl, and I want to have this house, and then everything just ends up in disrepair and wrecked, and it's because we don't what's the word I'm looking for? We don't foresee that we're going to need to maintain that stuff. We're going to maintain our friendship and maintain the things we have. And if we don't, they'll be worth nothing. That's me talking again. I'm good at that. JPoet the preacher. That's not just for no reason either. That's what I do. What I got?